sports fans, welcome back to the Fool Show. Of course, I am Foolish Phil. Just giving my thoughts on the college football playoff. What a shock. Not totally being facetious. Totally not surprising at all. 4 teams were basically in there the whole season, and those 4 teams are going to the playoff. And this is what it is. You got Alabama, Notre Dame, okay. Clemson, Ohio State, okay. So really, in this way of the 4-team playoff, you have 3 teams that are basically shoo-ins every year. Clemson, Alabama, Ohio State. The ACC is weak, so put Clemson in. The Big Ten is weak. I know. I watch the games all the time. And so put Ohio State in. Alabama, don't get me wrong, the SEC is tough. Credit to them to make it to the playoff. But so basically 3 teams out of the 4 are just right in already. And then it's just, well, who's going to be the 4th team? Oklahoma, Notre Dame, who, right? So this year it's Notre Dame. Congratulations to them. But it's just boring to me. I don't get me wrong, I wish Michigan was in it. I wish Michigan was like Alabama, Ohio State, Clemson, where they were just the shoe-in that they're going to make it in there every year because that's just how good they are. But it's just the same thing, and it's like, oh, boy, we get to see Clemson, Ohio State again. Oh, wait, we saw that. We get to see Alabama, Notre Dame. Oh, we saw that. It's like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm glad we have a 4-team playoff instead of a 2-team playoff, but again, it just is like, it's nothing new. It's boring. At least these games are on New Year's Day, otherwise I don't know if I'd even watch them, because they're just kind of not anything that's really interesting to me. Well, going forward, I really think you have to look at this as, when the next TV contract comes out, that it's going to be an 8-team playoff. I mean, I think it's real easy to do. You'll just have the 5 Power 5 conference winners from each one. You win your conference, your title, your conference championship game, you get in. And then you have 3 at-larges. And that's 8. So then you would have, real easy matchups. I think a great way to have the matchups would be actually go back and use the BCS formula. I'm kind of sick of this little committee. I was so annoyed to see them all yesterday. Oh, look, they are 13 committee persons just watching the games. They're so serious. It's like, give me a break. Go back to the BCS formula where you use the human element where you had the 2 poles and then you had computers. And you know what? Yeah. Then you can use that to make your seedings for like the 8 teams, right? Just like that, 1 through 8, real simple. Yeah, sure, you always have a conversation about who was left out, number 9. Okay. That's the same way as they have in the NCAA March Madness. You talk about it for a couple days. Who was the team that got snubbed? Okay, you talk about it for a little bit, and then it's over. Same thing would happen here. The top 8 teams go through the BCS standings, and then number 9, oh well, you weren't good enough. And you would have a conversation, a little bit, oh well. But now it's like in this formula, we've had undefeated Central Florida and now undefeated Cincinnati, who can't even sniff getting into this playoff. Like, no chance to get into it. Why? Because the Power 5 conferences, which are, each conference, I would have to look it up, the total makeup, but each conference has a representative. So there's a Big 10, there's a Big 12, a ACC, Pac-12, yada, 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 right? They all have a representative. So those big power conferences do not want to lose out on their, I think it's $25 to $30 million for their team, the conference, if their team from the conference goes to the college football playoff. $25 to $30 million. Yeah. Oh, here's your runner-up prize play on New Year's 6 bowl game. Okay, you get your money, but you have no chance. No chance. Now, I'm not saying Cincinnati would win. I'm not saying in the old days Central Florida would win. But they have no chance to even get a seat at the table because people are just like, well, it's got to be Alabama and Ohio State and Clemson and Notre Dame. Cincinnati doesn't have a chance before the game even is played. Before the season even started, they had no chance. And you can see that when you have a 2-loss Oklahoma ahead of them. It's just undefeated, winner of their conference, and they don't even get a sniff of it. So it's just no. So it's just, it is what it is, and I think it's just, the playoff needs to be bigger because it's just not fair to everyone. Now, I get life. Life's not fair. But, I mean, come on. let's get more teams in the playoff. Just looking it down, I mean, everyone's just assuming it's going to go the way it did the last, 4 years or whatever it is now. Alabama and Clemson will play each other. This is what you figure it's going to happen. So, it is what it is. I mean, last year at least you had a new one in LSU. But you know what? Just status quo, status quo, status quo. So it's just kind of like another boring year of college football. All this came down to nothing changed. The way the season started, the way the rankings were from the first time all the teams were playing, nothing changed. Top 4 just stay the top 4. It is what it is. I would love to see an 8-team playoff, or even, I know, a 12-team, follow the model of the NFL, but, that's crazy. That's not going to happen. But I would love to see 8. Oh, well. Hey, let me know what you guys think of the college football playoff. I would love to have seen Cincinnati in there instead of Notre Dame, but it is what it is. Who would be your 4 teams? Let me know. Put that in the comment section below. And do you think I'm crazy to want a bigger playoff? Because the rest of the bowl games are completely meaningless. They're just consolation prizes. The only 4 teams that are going to even feel like they've had any sort of a good season are these 4 teams. Everyone else, you didn't make the playoff. Your season was a waste, if you will. Because the only ones who have a chance are the 4. That's it. I think you just got to have a bigger bowl, a bigger selection of teams. Otherwise, it's kind of like, bleh. It's just boring. Everything else is just a beauty pageant. All the other games are just shows. Just for, oh, look at us, yay. But it means nothing. If you're in any of the other New Year's 6 games, it's worthless. Any other bowl game, it's completely worthless in the big scheme of things. Only 4 teams. And that's the way it was from the very beginning of the year. They didn't lose big enough, I guess. There was a question. Notre Dame overcame a 24-point loss. Usually the committee would have it where that would be qualifying as a blowout loss, and teams with a blowout loss don't usually make it, but Notre Dame did this year. Hey, just a little side tangent there. Let me know your thoughts. Thanks for watching. I appreciate all those new subscribers, and as always, I'll catch you next time, and go Blue!